Greetings, my wicked brothers and sisters. This is a part of a larger art project where I will create 10 oil paintings depicting different famous occult and esoteric symbols. And in this particular video, I will paint the Eye of Providence. So, let's get to it. Sometimes it's also called the all-seeing eye. Many people associate it with the Freemasons, and to some extent the Illuminati, of course. But its history is much longer and multi-layered than that. Besides, as a part of my art project, I'm doing another painting specifically about the Freemasons, so I don't put too much focus on that aspect when I'm painting this one. The eye in general has existed as a symbol for millennia. For example, in ancient Egypt and Mesopotamia, the eye represented deities and divine protection. The Sumerians added large eyes to certain sculptures in order to convey holiness and watchfulness. And of course, we have all heard that the eye is the mirror of the soul. But the imagery where the eye is enclosed in a triangle was, for example, found in old religious and Christian artwork and architecture during the Renaissance, illustrating the eye of God watching over mankind. Divine providence, if you will. And all of this I had in mind while pondering what background I should use. When you think about divinity, I'm sure one thing that comes to your mind will be the sky, the heavens, the benevolent presence that's watching from behind the beautiful clouds. Except, that's not a charming concept. Best case scenario, it's menacing. Worst case scenario, it's frightening. And that's why I'm painting dark, ominous clouds. They are representing the unseen presence that's supposedly controlling mankind. An apathetic god that's just watching and judging. Yeah, this is gonna be a slightly pessimistic video. Now that the background is finished, it's time to continue with the actual symbol. I'm always starting with the background details first, so this time it's the so-called halo. The Freemasons often added a halo or ray of light, like sunbeams, to the image, sometimes without the triangle, sometimes with it. The US $1 bill got sunbeams behind a pyramid. In Christian iconography, it's a sign of God's radiance. So yeah, the religious symbolism continues. A sign of enlightenment, goodness, hope, am I right? Well, not in my version. In my painting, I'm illustrating it like sharp spears instead. This is artistic license on my part, first and foremost to give it a more personal look, something to represent my personal aesthetics, style, but also to make it rusty and gothic. This is my way to highlight the fact that the presence of God and divinity is something rusty, broken, cold, authoritative. Is this interpretation particularly cheerful? No, I'm the first one to admit that. Just blame it on my artistic sensibilities, I suppose. On the next part of the painting, I'm including 2 quotes in Latin. Now, during the centuries, several nations started adopting this symbol in one way or the other. But one of the most famous variations of the symbol was adopted by the United States of America in the 18th century. They incorporated the eye on the reverse side of the Great Seal of the United States. Later, they included the eye on one side of the US $1 bill. The 2 quotes appear on both of these. The quote underneath is actually supposed to be at the top and vice versa, but I'm painting it like this just so it would look better for the composition as a whole. The first quote I'm painting is Annuit Queptes. It means he has favored our undertakings, or he favors our undertakings. He, meaning God, of course. This is another reference to the divinity of the symbol, how it's expressing divine providence, a blessing from God himself. I'm painting it as if on a shiny material to give it a clean image. This quote is not really a pessimistic one, so I give it some slack, which is more than I could say about the second quote. The next one, Novus Ordo Seclorum, can either be translated as a new order of the ages or a new order of the world. It's often interpreted as a reference to the beginning of a new era of freedom and democracy, particularly in the context of the American Revolution and the establishment of the United States. However, the quote has often been mistranslated into New World Order. And what is the logical conclusion from that? Well, the interpretation that there is something that controls the world behind the scenes, in the shadows, but hidden in plain sight. Elite individuals who are pulling the strings. Mass surveillance and population control often adds to the narrative. And here is where the Freemasons and Illuminati really come into the picture. Like I said, the symbol is much older than any of those organizations, but some see it as logical proof that they've always been hiding in plain sight and has power beyond any government, or literally inside the governments. This is the reason why I'm painting Novus Ordo Seclorum like it's carved in stone. The quote is being more sinister and grim, so that's why I'm painting it differently than Annuit Queptes. And also for practical reasons, to make it more interesting if the quotes have different fonts and imagery. So yeah, a conspiracy theory, which obviously is convoluted nonsense. Or is it? Is it really that unfeasible? Considering what scandals and conspiracies that has already been uncovered during the last few decades alone, you just can't be certain. I guess we have to wait and see if this video, or my channel for that matter, will be deleted by them. That might be a good indicator. Now I'm moving on with the triangle. This is the most common and most famous version of the Eye of Providence. For example, at the US $1 bill and the Great Seal of the United States, it's specifically an unfinished pyramid. The pyramid signifies strength and duration. And in Christianity, the triangle, with its 3 corners, is a symbol for the Holy Trinity, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. When I'm painting the inside of the frame, I fill it with Gothic patterns, whose purpose is to give it mystical qualities or occult connotations, kind of to relate to the spirituality and divinity of the whole thing, but still not doing any Christian connection. As for the actual frame of the triangle, I'm using a palette knife to give the edges a rusty look, as if stone or cement. One reason I'm doing this is to highlight the symbolism of strength. Another reason is that I don't want to overdo it with details, except for those straight lines with even more Gothic patterns. I could have added even more intricate details, and I have a fetish for details, so I would have liked to, but I feel I can't add too much to it without making it seem too cluttered. So I'm rather allowing the frame to speak for itself. I'm actually one of those artists who doesn't necessarily think that less is more, but I guess there are exceptions for every rule. And the last component of the symbol, the big one, the eye itself. So, how to tackle it? How do you properly convey this one? Well, like I've said, this image is not a comforting one. This is not a representation of a benevolent deity, but a controlling and corrupt one, always watching, scheming, plotting. So my eye is not shining or beautiful. It's brown, almost decaying, bulging, with blood vessels barely holding it together. The pupil and iris are blood red, an unnatural shade for a twisted god mind behind it. It's weeping blood? I don't know, because of mankind's corruption which he himself created? In any case, the eye is sick, like God himself, and the doctrines behind it. And now I might have been carried away, but I'm not apologizing. And if any of you, my wicked brothers and sisters, are also creating art, you shouldn't apologize either. Lastly, I'm adding the final touches, the last details or highlights, and finally it's finished. A symbol of divinity and spirituality, a higher power watching over the world, as well as groups of elites actually controlling the world. So, there it is. Do you have comments about the Eye of Providence or the painting itself? Feel free to share your opinions in the comments section. And if you want to see more of my future paintings, go ahead and click the subscribe button. Also, check out my webshop, deathiseternalart.com, and see all the artwork I got for sale. And I shall finish today's sermon by just saying, the eye is watching.